everybody. My computer went all. Uh, Today we'll be learning about newspaper articles in English. So I'll be giving you like a brief description, a brief general knowledge about the topic. We'll be talking about how to write a newspaper article, how it should look like, what the topics are for such things, and how you can make it very interesting for your readers to read. They will want to read it, and of course there will be assignments. Because it's me, and I already know, I make you do stuff. So just so that we are aware, I'm going to share my screen. I have a PowerPoint for you guys, and that way it's easier for me to show you what a newspaper looks like first off, and how it actually looks, and what I can do to help you write one easier, making the whole process easier, let's just say. So, all right, let me just share my screen. Share your entire screen because I love that. All right, let's do it there. All right, great. So let's get started. So, we don't want to see that. All right, let's do this. We're going to be looking at here my newspaper article PowerPoint that I created because I'm so cool and so awesome. And yeah. Okay, so newspaper articles, they kind of look like this. Not kind of, they do. They look exactly like this. What is a newspaper article? Well, it basically gives you all the information of an event that happened before that's very interesting to other people around us. So if, let's say, a refrigerator fell from let's say, a building, right? And it hit someone on the head and that person died. Well, usually the news reports or news people, news broadcasting people, or new people from newspaper articles will come to the site where it happened, and they will ask around what happened, why did it happen, how did it happen, how did this refrigerator come down from the balcony and hit people on the ground? Was it intentional? Did someone want to hit people? Was it murder? Did somebody want to kill that person? Was it an accident, or like, oh my god, it slipped out of my hand, sort of thing? Or was just it just happened? Or was it something like, oh my god, this refrigerator is on the loose and it's running around and killing people? I don't know. Or did the refrigerator commit suicide? I know I'm being dramatic, but it could happen. So this is what I found. One of these, the New York Times is one of those newspapers in America, situated in New York, obviously, the New York Times. It's one of the most famous newspapers in the world, and if you want to read them, which I encourage you, it's 25 cents a week, which not that bad, $1 a month. So if you do, I think it's great because you're going to be all up to date about the world and everything. CNN has that as well. It's quite cool. I have the CNN app on my phone, so I'm always aware of what's going on. I don't necessarily read them, but I know what's going on. I have the app, so it's not like I'm just sitting there and be like, oh my god, I'm so cool. I know everything that's going on in the world. No, I don't. I just have the app just in case something interesting happens, like a refrigerator falling from a balcony and kills people. That's very interesting. So let's get on with our story. So a newspaper article has let's how to write one actually. Let's get right down to business. How to write a newspaper article. So newspaper articles should have facts. Facts are something that actually happened during the event. So let's say this refrigerator fell down the balcony. Let's say if this refrigerator fell down from a balcony from any building, someone would come up and say, try and get all the facts, all the right information, they would ask all the right questions. So they would have to ask the 5 W's and 1 H. So the who, what, where, when, why, and how. So when you do these, you have to say what happened, how did it happen, when did it happen, where did it happen, Who threw this refrigerator off the balcony? Or did someone, or did no one do it? Or did this refrigerator have suicidal thoughts and want to kill himself? Like, you don't know. So, where did it happen? Was it in, where would we say, where some, um, in Slimani, where would we have some buildings? So, in Sully Heights, did it happen in Sully Heights? Did it happen in, what's it called? Darwaza? Did it happen in Khoja? Did it happen in Kundi Almani, German village? You don't know. So these are the types of questions that someone in a newspaper article would ask when this event happens. So any event, even as small as, let's say, our voting situation. So sometimes we have voting situations and everyone goes on riot. No. Or hey, even better, our riot at school that happened, but all the kids were running around in the hallway. Let us clean, let us clean. Remember that one? Where half of you guys, or if not all, let's just say all of you guys joined in on this riot. Well, someone would want to write a story about that, and so they would ask people, who started this? When did it start? Where was this? And what is actually happening? Why are you doing this? And how did you guys form this riot? And I know some of you just joined in for the fun, or if not all. I know mostly it was the year five that created, and you guys just did it for the fun and for the attention. But hey, it's still part of the event and the riot, and basically that's what riots are. Some people just don't know what's happening. You go in through it. I know I've done it. I've done it. I was like, yeah, let's do this. I was walking around in like the cities in Canada. I was sitting down and there was a riot happening, and I was wondering what was happening. And I asked some people, and they were talking about, we want our rights back. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. We want our rights back too. So I joined in, and we were like, give us our rights, give us our rights. And then we were running around, and they gave us our rights. And I don't know what kind of rights we got, but hey, we did it. We were good. So sometimes riots are good and sometimes the riots are bad. And a lot of people during that time when we were rioting, there were there was a whole bunch of news stands everywhere. There were people from the newspapers, and they were coming up and interviewing people and saying what's going on. And they were asking, when they interview, they were asking the five W's and the H. So the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Now that is important. All right, so keep that in mind. That is very, 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 very important into writing a newspaper article. If you do not answer those types of questions, the newspaper article is not an article anymore. It's just some sort of a report. And we don't want that. We need it to be catchy and we need it to be really interesting. So you need to answer those questions in order to make it interesting. Another way to make how to write a newspaper article is to create snappy and informative headlines. So what does it mean by snappy? It should mean like it should grab the person's attention when reading. So for example, we have a headline here: Nazis launched terrific assault against Britain. That is a short, descriptive headlines that allows the readers to know, hey, what the article is going to be about and how we can create and how this whole article is going, how the article persuades the person to, oh my God, I need to know how the Nazis did that. So they would go up and say, they would go up to they would read the newspaper article and look at it and be like, oh my God, this is so cool. How did it happen? And, oh my God, what's going on with Britain? And so all these questions that the reader creates in his or her head should be answered in the newspaper article. So the headline should give a basic information, a basic knowledge about what the newspaper will be about. That's quite cool it's really awesome in my opinion. We'll get more into headlines in a bit, or we should do it now. Let's do the assignment now. So we have as an assignment right here. My assignment is, since we know that headlines should have a sort of snappy, quick information to title to grab the reader's attention, I want you to create 5 headlines that could potentially show up in a newspaper. So, for example, so we're not going to talk about anything in the past, but we're going to talk about something in the future. So, if I were to, I'm going to give you guys an example, which is something that you can't use. The examples that I've put in, you can't use them. So, my examples, I've put down 3 for you. Burj Khalifa collapses. Dun dun dun. And yeah, the sound effect was me, but it helps. So, Burj Khalifa collapses. Oh my god, people are going to read that. They're like, oh my god, no way, the tallest building in the world. What? Why? How? Is everyone okay? Were there people in it? So these questions that the reader um, creates in his or her mind should be answered in the newspaper article. That's why we talk about the who, what, where, when, why, and how it should always, always, always be answered. If you miss out one of those, then the article is not complete. Another example would be COVID strikes again, and oh my god, and then they're like, what? What do you mean strikes again? What happened? Oh my god, is everyone okay? Did people die again? And remember, like last time when we had our quarantine, a whole bunch of people died and everyone was worried. And so again, COVID strikes again helps people be like, oh my god, no way. And it's a relatable thing. Like everyone's afraid of this. Everyone wants to know more. It's not just related for people who are in old people. There, it's also it relates to you guys, to young people. Oh my God, this COVID, it's ruining my life. I'm stuck at home, which technically you guys like it, so I don't know. Um, and then the world is drowning. What? People would look at that and be like, "What do you mean? What do you mean the world is drowning? I need to know more." And this is the type of headline that a lot of readers will be like, "What? I need to know more. I need more information." You want them thirsty for more knowledge based just on your title, on your headline. So if you can look at that, look at my 3 examples, and you can see that they're actually all 3 of them are quite short, and that I didn't do that by mistake. That is for a reason. The shorter the title, if you can create such a short title that grabs the reader's attention, the better. So, in my personal opinion, if we talked about, okay, so Burj Khalifa collapses has more of an effect than Burj Khalifa has been going down and it's collapsed and a lot of things have happened and yeah. Do you think that kind of a title is more attention grab like, or would it, or is Burj Khalifa collapses and all in caps and with an exclamation point? And do you think that one grabs your attention more than saying, well, one of the buildings in Dubai has fallen and people got hurt and I don't know. Obviously, the one we say Burj Khalifa collapses makes more sense to people because everyone knows what or where Burj Khalifa is, so we don't really need to know where. We don't need to write down the location in the title. And what happened with the Burj Khalifa, we say it collapses. So it's quite short and simple, and it grabs people's attention. So for your first assignment, please create 5 headlines that could potentially show up in the newspaper. So in the future, so create something. It could be fake. It could be fake news. Well, obviously, because mine were. So Burj Khalifa collapses. Obviously, it's not going to. But that part, ooh, what happened there? Sorry, guys. That part there, that's quite important. And I think if again, it's fake news, so you can create something fake as long as you can make it believable and persuade the reader. So you have to persuade me, the person who's marking your headline, to make me want to read your article. So please create 5 headlines that would work with the criteria, with the guidelines. All right? So then we're going to go into, after headlines, we're going to do, so after someone's written a headline, your newspaper articles, I don't know if we have seen them before, like we saw here. They're all, if you can tell right here, They're all in very small and short paragraphs, whereas some parts might be a little bit longer, but they're all in general very short paragraphs. Why do newspaper articles create short paragraphs? Well, because it's easier to read for the person, right? So the reader, when they're reading something, it's easier. If they wanted to read something long, they would read a book, they would read an essay about it. But newspapers are usually short and to the point. So they want to make it easier for the reader to read. So how do we make that? We make it into small, short paragraphs. When we do that, always, usually in the very beginning, the first two or three paragraphs is a summary. So when we do talk about summaries, we say summaries are giving you the overall information of what's happening. Don't give too much detail, all right? You're not giving too much detail. You're not giving away the entire story, but you're giving just like the gist, okay? So the overall um, the overall event. So what actually, you're going to answer the questions in a short, precise way. So who, what, where, when, why, how. You're going to give them in short answers and short, meaningful ways. So that way that the reader's like, huh, all right, I know what's going to happen. And then you're going to get into more detail afterwards. So after those 2, 3 paragraphs, after your summary you've created, you're going to create more paragraphs and get into full detail so that the reader is fully informed about the topic and what happened and um, how it happened. And so that way, when they're finished the story, when they're finished reading the newspaper or your article, they can be like, huh, that was interesting. I like that. That was a very good article. And they are now informed and they'll be like, okay, now I know what's happening. All right? A lot of the times, way back then, newspapers were actual papers, and hence the word. And it was like in those movies, like you know how in the movies there's like in those old movies where there's this kid standing by the what's it called? Standing by the by the street and with like a stand and they're holding newspapers like, yo, extra, extra, read all about it and they're yelling it out, come on, oh my god. Let's say the wars world let's talk about World War II. The kid is trying to hype up the newspaper and like, oh my god, the World War II is finally over. Read all about it. Come right up. And that used to be how it happened, how they sold newspapers, how newspapers were sold to the viewers. Nowadays, we have online, right? And in online, you can easily find newspaper reports, just like how CNN, how I downloaded the app and it gives me all the information I need to know, and it gives me a short summary, and this is where it relates back, a short summary of what the topic is about. It gives me the headline, and it gives me a small summary of what the headline is about. So that way, if I want to read more, I can read more. And if I don't, I've already know the summary and I'm already up to date. I already know what's going to happen, which is quite cool. And like we said, we use paragraphs to help the reader clearly understand the information. So it's easier for the person to see it if it's in small, short paragraphs, whereas instead in a novel you would have longer paragraphs and you would describe it in fuller detail. All right? Another thing that we can include in a paragraph, in a newspaper article is quotes. All right, so to provide quotes is really, really important. So it's like one of those, hey, it's like in the news when you watch when your dad watches the news and there's people out there on the streets and they're interviewing people. So what do you think about this topic? And then they start talking on about it. So usually, if we're going to talk about here, there's this one person in Baghdad who asks, yo, so what do you think about the voting situation in Iraq? And they'll be like, blah, 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 and then they talk on and on and on and on because Kurds are very opinionated and we need to say our opinion. So when that happens, the person who's interviewing has a whole bunch of quotes, and when we quote, we can take parts of what that person said and put it into our newspaper articles and quote that person and say, so-and-so said this about that. And then we quote. So let's say, for example, about the whole refrigerator falling from a balcony. I'm sorry, I'm in the kitchen and I see refrigerator, that's why. And when I see this, so someone outside is like, "Oh my God, no way! There's a refrigerator falling from a balcony," and everyone's like, "What? No way!" And then the news people come over and they're like, and they start interviewing the person who saw it. So, oh my God, Tommy, what did you see about? How did you see it? How did you notice it? And they say, "Oh my God, man!" So like this person was like over there, and like we were over here talking, and then we're like, and then out of nowhere, I was like, "Yo, look at that star!" And it turned out it wasn't a star; it was a refrigerator. And bam, it went down, and it turned into like rubble, and it turned into trash, and a whole bunch of pieces flew out, and one piece of the refrigerator, a milk carton, went straight through someone's body, and it killed that person. And so that person who's interviewing, I know, it's so dramatic. For that person who's interviewing, can write down or record that person, so that way later on they can use that quote in their newspaper article and say, Tommy said this. Tommy, the first person to see the refrigerator, said, "Oh my God, our refrigerator is falling. I thought it was a star or something." And you can quote it using the quotation marks, just like how in English we taught you, right? So quotation marks, speech marks, um, indicate that someone is talking. So that it talks about the person's opinion of the event. So like we said, how dramatic it was for Tommy. "Oh my God, I thought it was a star falling, but it turned out it was a refrigerator." So that was Tommy's opinion, right? So obviously not everyone's gonna look at the refrigerator and be like, "Yo, dude, what are you talking about? It's not a star, it's a refrigerator," right? But who knows? Maybe Tommy's not that bright. You don't know. So, and then you could also include a picture with a caption. So there are many pictures, like let's see here. So, man walks on moon, all right? Astronaut lands on plane, collect rocks, plant flag. All right, so then as you can see, there's a picture right here that shows the men walking on the moon. I don't know how they got the picture, but they have a picture, which kind of indicates, was someone there just taking pictures? Which probably yes. Or is it fake? Apparently, apparently, um, men walking on the moon, the first time America did it, it was fake. But the second time it's true. Interesting. So, I know, side fact, sorry. We don't have the full newspaper for this because this was just about headlines for me to show you a picture. But yeah, so usually newspaper articles show a picture, which is quite cool in my opinion, because that way the reader is like, "Huh, now I know what that looks like." Or someone can get, so let's say Tommy, when he's seeing the refrigerator fall from the sky or balcony, let's say, when he sees that refrigerator falling from the balcony, let's say he takes out his phone and he takes pictures, like I would, and be like, "Yo, oh my God," he would take a video. "Oh my God, what?" And then he takes the video and he sees the whole refrigerator falling, and everyone could see it. And that way, if someone does have a video or a picture, they can show it in a newspaper article, so that it's not just Tommy who saw it, it wasn't just Tommy who saw it, but it was now the entire world, which is quite cool. To be continued, your writing should be formal. So we wouldn't talk in a newspaper article like how you would talk with your friends. You would talk in a normal, it's not normal, sorry, in a formal way. So how you would talk with your teacher per se, or how you would talk to Mrs. Lena, our head of primary, or Mr. Zana, our head of school, right? Our principal director. So we would talk to them in a formal way. I wouldn't. I would talk to you guys in a sort of formal way. I don't really, but I should. I really should, but I don't, because I want you guys all to be my friends. So anyway, I talk to you guys. I would talk to you guys in an informal way, but as a teacher, I should talk to you formally and be like, "Oh my God," and all that. But since we're a progressive school. I think we can be friends. But I personally would talk to Mrs. Lino or Mr. Zana in a very professional, formal way. I would use all my English. I would use my English properly. I would use all the correct punctuation, my correct grammar, correct spelling, especially if I'm sending out a email or if I'm sending a report to them. All right. So again, as a newspaper article, you can't be like, "Yo, oh my God, hey, what's up, B to B, G to G, or sus, or what else do you guys say? All these slang words, we can't say those. So that's informal on how we would talk with our friends or someone who's close to us. And we would also use third person pronouns, like he said this, she did that, they did this, how they all survived the refrigerator falling from a balcony. Oh my God! Or how he got a milk carton got stuck blown through his body, and now his guts are bleeding out, and how he, you know. So when I'm going through this refrigerator story, you can notice that I'm only using third person pronouns, which is sorry, which is very very important in a newspaper article, and it should always, 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 for the last point, it should always be in past tense because the events have already happened. So this refrigerator that fell on through a balcony, it should be in the past. It should be they did this, or how would I start this? When we say refrigerator, what's my headline for a refrigerator falling from the sky? It's raining refrigerators. All right, that's a good one. That's a good headline. So if we ever see a refrigerator falling, let's use that headline. It's raining refrigerators. And then I would go into the summary because we talked about this, right? A summary. We'd say it was past tense. It was 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. People were minding their own. People were past tense were minding their own business. They were talking. They were talking amongst each other, and then suddenly Tommy looked up into the sky and saw past tense saw what he thought past tense was a refrigerator falling from the sky. What he thought was a star, but it turned out it was a refrigerator. So again, it has to be all in past tense because when you're talking about something that happened before. You're interviewing someone about something they saw before, not at this moment, not live, but an event that happened in the past. So yeah. Um, Overall, a newspaper article should look like this. There is the title of the newspaper. Let's say it's the Daily News. You should have a date up at the top, um, um, where your newspaper is located and everything, all right? And then you have your headline where it says insert your headline here. So my refrigerator falling from the sky, which we said it's raining, our headline, it's raining refrigerators, we would include it here where it says insert your headline here. And then we would go into our summary. So this article, this paragraph, if it's enough for you to summarize, should be your summary here. And then you answer your who, what, where, when, why, and how, and the rest. And here with this silhouette of a person, um, you would show the picture that Tommy took of the refrigerator falling. So overall, newspaper articles are quite fun and interesting. I think if we look, for example, if we can look here, hello everyone, again, if we can look at, let's say, the New York Times. Oh, sorry, let's do the New York Times. All right. Sorry, I'm not prepared. I closed the tab before I realized it. All right. So the New York Times, just like how it's showed in our PowerPoint, the daily news, right? We have the title of the newspaper article right here, the New York Times. And underneath, I know it should be underneath. This is the old timers way of doing it. So we've got the site date here, where it's located, all the information about the newspaper. It's right here. So today's page, Monday, January 17th, 2022. And you go into, since this is online, it's quite easier. You can, because before newspaper articles had a different section for each one. So like world news, U.S. news, politics, we've got business, tech, science, health, sports, and my favorite part of the newspaper was there was a comic section, an entire page of just comics, and I would read it, and they had like games on there. And yes, I know I'm old, and I know I loved but it was the best time in the world. Every Sunday, there would be a newspaper at the in front of my door. I'd run and grab the comics, and I'd read it, and I'd laugh, even though I wouldn't get it, but I thought the pictures were pretty, so ha ha ha. Um, and then there were the games, and I didn't really like the games because I didn't know how to do them, like crosswords. Who knows crosswords or Sudoku? Oh, but now I like them because I know how to do it. But as a kid, when I'm 7 or 8 years old, I didn't like them because I was like, "What is this game? It's so boring." Anyway, so now we can look at some articles here. So we've got China's first hit historic low, political problem for Beijing. So China before, I don't know if you guys remembered, but China had a child ban, so they wouldn't allow each couple to have more than one child. If you did, you would be like you would be fined. You had to pay. But now China's like, oh my God, we're at an all-time low for kids. Not everyone's making kids. Well, duh, China government, hello, you guys banned it, so they're all afraid. But yeah, so like let's look at this. All right, so we're gonna open this article. It talks about, if you can see, we've got a small, very hide. We don't want this one. Oh, oh no, I'm not here. Sorry, guys. Oh no, okay, so apparently New York Times, I need to have my subscription. It worked today. It was so weird. I was using it without the subscription. All right, so CNN, same thing, works out. They've got CNN up here. They don't have the date, which kind of sucks, but they should have the date. And then they've got cool stuff online, which where they can say the podcast. They have a whole bunch of people talking and telling you all the information. And then there's COVID information. Ooh, vaccination tracker. That's cool. And it talks all about, let's see what that is. And it talks about the vaccination and how all the world has worldwide vaccinations and who has been vaccinated or not. So the lighter the color means there hasn't been anyone who has been vaccinated, and the darker the color means most of the country has been vaccinated. So this is per 100 people, quite informative in my opinion. Where is Iraq? Where are we? Right here. And we are at a light blue, which means we are 1 to 4,200 people. So that's 4,200 people. I don't think that's true because I've been vaccinated. I'm pretty sure all your teachers have been vaccinated. Your parents, hopefully that's true. Let's get them vaccinated. Doctors have been. So I think there's a lot more, but they haven't been documented, which kind of sucks. Look at Africa, like a whole lot of that has not been vaccinated. So all the information in these articles tells you right away, which is quite cool. Why Denmark separated children from their families. Wow, it's so dramatic. See, it grabbed your attention. It made me stop talking to you guys and read this headline right here. Why Denmark separated children from their families. So dramatic. But made me want to read more, which I'm not going to though. Um, hey, look at this, guys. We all know Anne Frank, the person who was living in a basement and recorded everything that happened during World War II. Cool. It says cold case investigation. Name surprise suspect in Anne Frank's betrayal. Dun dun dun. And that kind of information, you would hit it and be like, yo, look, see, we've got our story, we've got the date, who it's by, and then you go down. Here's a picture of Anne Frank. Like we include in an article a picture, and then we've got in the beginning we've got a summary, and then afterwards when you keep on reading, it shows the answers to the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And I hope um, all these have been very, very, very um, sorry. Okay, so now that we're done presenting, I hope that we've gone through this entire process of what goes into an article, what should be included in an article, and please go back to the part where it talks about the assignments so that way you can do it properly, so I can mark it and it's been done properly. Again, do not use the examples that I taught you, that I used, sorry, do not do the examples that I used, do your own 5 examples. It would be a lot better and it's easier for you. Get creative, get crazy, like my story about the refrigerator falling, which is another one you can't use. So don't be smart. You can, or the Burj Khalifa collapsing. Obviously, those are the ones that you can't use. Newspaper articles is where you as a person can start becoming more and more creative. You can let your creative side out. It's where you can, as a person, become more, and you become like a detective, let's say, but instead of, well, technically yes and technically no. It depends on what you're interviewing. So you can you are a detective, but you can be a detective of murder, or a detective of something falling from the sky, or just seeing why did a kitten get stuck in the tree. Okay, so you're a detective. You're finding out information. You're letting the world know of what happened, which is quite amazing in my opinion. Those people who have the ability to write newspaper articles is mind blowing to me because I'm not that creative. Although I say I am, I'm not. Um, I think people who have that ability to write down all their creative sides into a text is really, really, really cool in my eyes. So please get creative with your headlines. I hope that all your answers are going to make me laugh and make me want to read more. And if that happens, I will. I can't say that. Sorry. I will be extremely, extremely happy, and I probably might give you an extra point. Yay. So thank you for listening. Please do the homework, and I'll see you guys later. Sorry, hold on. Let me end this record. Sorry. There you go.